Hi everyone, what you're about to see is a look into one of my coaching sessions with one of my clients. She's a tech startup CEO in the AI space. We're not going to mention her name or her company name because this is sensitive information, but I wanted to show you all what it's like to actually be in a coaching session with me where we're practicing a potential negotiation call. In this particular deal, the startup CEO had quoted the prospect $100,000 and she wanted to maintain as close of that price point as possible. We discussed potentially going down a little bit further, but in the negotiation practice, I urge her to hold the line, reconfirm the value of her product, and ensure she's not the one guessing what discount amount could work, given that she's already aligned on the $100,000 price point with her champion and sponsor. So take a look at this particular coaching session, and good news is that this particular CEO actually came away with closing the deal and was able to maintain the $100,000. But you'll see in the practice, we go through various situations so that she's prepared, she's mentally confident and not nervous during the real thing. Enjoy this, and if you like more of a look into my coaching sessions, happy to share based off of the comments I see in this video. Cool. Okay, so the first instance is, what do you want? How do you want me to play this? You want me to push back on the 95K even, right? On the 100K. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Let's dive into it then.
Okay. All right. Hold on. All right. Hi. Nice to see you. Thanks for hopping on the phone with me.
Of course. Yeah. Good to meet you as well.
Yeah. So great to meet you in person. And as I said in our email, I know we've had a bit of a back and forth around this deal and the price. I really just wanted to understand your perspective a little bit more since, as I said in the email, this is the number that we arrived on after weeks of negotiating with, and just trying to be as transparent as possible about where our bottom is, and what we're offering in our order form right now is really a big discount compared to the other customers that we're working with at this scale. So would love to understand your limitations as well. So maybe you could start by just telling me a little bit more where you had suggested 90K, like where that comes from.
Yeah. I mean, as I said in the email, we're just heavily scrutinized on budget right now. And so any six-figure deal is really, really hard to push through. Especially if it's coming from a startup, right? So remind me, how big is your company? You're fairly early, right?
Yeah, we've got a small team, but one of the reasons that I know Tom was so excited to work with us is that there's a really unique opportunity to work with the founders as part of this deal, which, as we, we're getting a lot of interest, and so as we grow, that's not going to be the case. But for this particular deal, you'd definitely be working closely with us, which I know Tom is excited about.
Got it. Okay. Well, yeah. So considering all that, I think that 100K again, because of the heavy scrutinization on budgets, is really, really hard. So even coming down to something like 90K, I feel like that should be pretty reasonable and something I could push through. I'm hoping you're not gonna want to lose a deal over 10K, right? So that's really the magic number I'm trying to shoot for, and something I can commit to getting through if we can get down to 90K with the same parameters as to where the deal is right now.
And where exactly does 90K come from? Like, can you just share a little more on that? I know you said budget is under scrutiny, but what about the 90K?
Yeah, I mean, even honestly, even at 90K, it's a little over budget, but I know, like you said, is excited for this. And where it comes from is, we have at six figures, there's a lot more eyeballs that come on this deal. So that's a lot of where this is coming from. The other thing too, yeah, I mean, like you, again, like we are inundated by startups. And so I think it feels reasonable given kind of the maturity of your company to, get excited about working with the company. Like, we provide a lot of feedback. Obviously we're a big brand and logo, so that's also part of the reason why I'm looking for a better deal. is because of kind of the weight that I have behind helping you as well. Obviously, like we're excited about working directly with the founders, but you also, I think, will get a ton of value from product feedback on our side.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. I know we'll definitely get some value out of working with as a brand. I know he's really excited about it, and he sees it as really instrumental in being able to launch these new products. Um, we're really the only offering like this on the market right now, so we're really giving him an advantage when he brings these new products to market, and giving him the information that he needs so that he can make this a success for the entire customer success organization. So, um, it's really hard for us to undercut that value since we're already at a 50% discount. And not only that, we're actually offering unlimited usage, which is something that we haven't done for any of our other customers. So it's hard for me to go below the discount and the 100K that we already have now.
Okay, got it. So 100K is really the bottom for you all. Like there's no wiggle room.
Uh, um, yes. What should I do? Should I extend an olive branch or just
Yeah. So okay, so should we recap the first part of the conversation first, or do you want to keep going?
let's time out and talk about it. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I think you did a great job right out of the gate. One minor thing, which you'll probably do, right, is make sure you intro yourself in the beginning.
Oh yeah.
Just say like a short, like 1 or 2 sentence about why you're excited about working with that, like encapsulates a pitch of, right? So like, I'm the founder and CEO. I've had a ton of background in XYZ, and my founders and I founded this company because, or, we developed this product because the founding story is a little bit different from where you pivoted, right? We developed this product because we believe that blah, 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 right? You'll be able to see that better than I can. What I would say is great job with the curveball question around size of company. I think you did a great job there. And you did a good job also verbalizing the fact that you're already at a discount. At the point of pushback on the price, at that point, I could see this like, so one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to continue pitching the value and getting into this like rabbit hole. And it was like at the edge of that, right? Because you guys were kind of saying rebuttals and you don't want to keep throwing rebuttals at each other, right? You were saying founding team. I was saying, you get good feedback from. So you were at about the right moment. I would say even like a minute or two before you could say, hey, listen, like I still want to work with you. And so reconfirming what you said, it seems like there's a 6-figure deal size issue. And you're over budget. And so there's some like, you're looking for an indication to be below 6 figures. Can I ask you, like, is this an absolute no-go then if we can't hit anything below 100K? And if it's a 6-figure issue, would you go with 99,000 then? And to kind of like throw a joke.
Yeah.
I gave that breadcrumb where it's like, I told you it was a 6-figure issue and there's more scrutiny.
Got it.
Right?
Got it.
And so I would go, my feedback there is like, go into negotiation mode sooner.
Okay.
Right. And use what he's saying. He might not say that, right? But use what he's saying to throw hypotheticals out there.
Okay.
Right. Because at that point, like you continuing to say like it's not going to work isn't going to help the discussion. It's just going to get awkward.
Yeah.
Especially if I throw the question at you to be like, well, so is 100K the maximum? Instead of saying yes, at that point you do need to play ball, right? Because that's what he's looking for to really help you. And a good way to do that is to revert back to a breadcrumb he dropped and say, okay, well, if it's a 6-figure issue, like is 99,000 going to accomplish what you need? I don't want to be facetious here, but I do want to help you out. But if the parameters are the 6 figures, then why not 99,000 versus 90,000?
Yeah. Okay. So just to recap, intro, great point. And then at the point in the conversation where I guess before you had asked like is 100K your the bottom, sometime before then latch on to the limitations that he had already outlined and say something like, if 6 figures is really the issue here, would 99K work for you?
Exactly. Yeah. Or if he says like, now obviously that's a very made up scenario, right? If there is a bottom, let's say you don't want to get to below 95.
Yeah.
And he says something like 90 or heaven forbid like 85 if things have changed on his end. What you can also say is like, well, 90K we definitely can't do. And instead of saying 95, you just say 90K we definitely can't do because as I said, 100K we're already at a discount. So is there something that could work beyond the 90K?
Yeah.
Right? Because at 90K at unlimited sessions, that puts us at a big disadvantage and you'd be getting value that's outsized the investment.
Yeah.
Right. And then you could, and then see what he says. And if 90K really is the limit, then you go to kind of the other options we talked about last week, which is limiting the product, right? So you could say, well, at unlimited, we can't do 90K. If there's something between 90 and 100 that could work for you at unlimited, let me know. But if that really is the absolute limit for the budget, we do have to look at limiting sessions, which, I would want to avoid because then we need to kick off conversations around where the cap would be. Right now, remember, this is an unlimited session fee.
Right.
So I want to kind of brainstorm with you as to what we need to do if we're going to limit sessions. Do you by any chance know what the session limits would be?
Sure. He'll know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Is that helpful? Hopefully as feedback. It's hard with these situations because anything could happen, right? So the key, I guess, tenets I would keep in mind is latch on to what he says with that first really good question that you're asking, which is what is the context around 90K?
Yep.
And then start to trade, right? And because next phase of this, let's say he does say 95 is okay or 94.
Yep.
Right? In my mind, like anything above 90 is a win.
Yep.
Then you could say, okay, well, again, we're at 100K, that's a big discount. But if hypothetically I could convince my co-founders to go down to 3, could we have a signed contract by end of this week? Yeah.
So if I can convince my co-founders to go down to 95K, could we get a signed contract by the end of this week, by Friday?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, strong start. Don't get into this position where you're like, oh, I just got to continue with rebuttals.
Okay.
Start to negotiate live once you have said your piece about value and discounting, and then trade different components of the deal that give you value if you're going to give in on anything below 100K.
Okay. Can we do it again?
Yes, let's do it again. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Hi, David. It's so nice to meet you. I know we've been corresponding on email, but I'm one of the founders of. I'm the CEO, and we started build our product specifically because we saw the big need to be able to understand what people are doing when they interact with these AI agents. I'll come up with something better than that, but that's framing.
Cool. Yeah, that's pretty good. Short and snappy.
So, yeah, as I said in the email, the 100K price is what we arrived on after negotiating extensively with. And I was trying to be as transparent as possible about where our bottom is. It's a really big discount compared to the deals that we've done with other customers. So, but I also understand the position that you're in, and want to make sure we can make this work. So can you explain a little more where the 90K number comes from?
Yeah, I mean, as I said in the email, we're under heavy scrutiny with new budgets, and especially with startups. How old are you again in terms of company age?
We're about 2 years old, but we're growing really quickly, and we've got some other big companies that we're working with.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Yeah. So kind of with the startup consideration, heavy budget scrutiny, it's hard to get anything above six figures approved these days. So that's why I was looking for some grace to be at something like 90K, which hopefully is still a great deal for you all. And I don't see you wanting to walk away from a deal at a 10K delta, right? So that's really where the context is. And so hoping we can get something done.
Yeah. So if it's you said there was like anything that's six figures is under a lot of scrutiny, is that right?
Yeah, anything over six, anything 100K and above, yeah, that kind of like throws up flags here.
Okay.
And I was just I know you negotiated but I was just brought in a few weeks ago. So, I'm kind of coming into this fresh and wanting the best deal possible from here on out now that I'm involved.
Yeah, yeah. No, thanks for working with us to make this work. Um, one thing we did negotiate with is unlimited sessions. So, not only is it a 50% discount, but potentially more than that if exceeds his growth goals. So, if you've got a limit for 100K, like, would you be able to do, uh, you know, 99K? Would that work for your constraints?
I mean, that's just $1,000 off. So I'm looking for something a little bit better than that. I would really like to hit the 90K level. Is that not possible?
Um, it would be really, really hard for us to do 90K, given how excited he is about working with and how important he sees this as part of his success. Um, but if we were able to come closer to, let's say, like 95K, would you be able to, have this contract signed and closed by Friday?
Possibly. So 95K is your bottom then for you. Is that right?
If we could, I've got to talk to my co-founders, because again, we already we did negotiate already, but we could, if we can get the deal done by the end of the week, then we could probably get close to 95K.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, let me digest that then and then get back to you. If that is likely going to be the limit that you can do. But yeah, I hear you that, you can't do 90K. Cool. Should we time out again?
How do I close? How do I like finish the conversation?
Yes. Okay, so that was tough. So if you finish the conversation at that level, it will be a lost opportunity, right? The reason being is because you don't have that much clarity. Like you actually don't know if 95 is going to get the deal. Because I kind of was like, okay, let me digest it, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not giving you anything. So, okay, one thing, I'm glad we went through this again. Instead of you offering 95, remember you have to ask him. Okay, first thing is you have to be comfortable with the walkaway price, right? So you have to be okay if 90K is a no-go for sure.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be comfortable losing the deal. It's not a no-go.
Lower than that, probably.
Okay, if 90K is not a no-go,
Yeah.
then instead of saying it would be hard for me to get that approved, I mean, you should still say that.
Yeah.
But then what I would do is say, hey, at that level, can we guarantee XYZ thing, right? Whereas you treated 95 at that, right?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because now if 90K was a no-go and 95 was your bottom, then I would still not say 95. I would say like flip the question onto the procurement guy and say, is 90K the maximum that you're willing to do? Are you saying without that, you as an organization would walk away from the partnership? Right? Because then he'll say, no, I can do 95 max. And then you play the tape around, okay, if we could hypothetically do 95, can we close this by end of the week?
Yep.
Right? And if he's like, let me digest it, you have to say, well, how can we get that assurance? Because I can't have this discount, be out there for another week if we're going to go below the aggressive discount we've already aligned on.
Yep.
So can we get that answer around 95 today, right? I can be available over text or whatever you need.
And what does that look like? Like he will confirm by email?
Yeah, email or text or whatever. It's like, like I will be available to you. Like, let me know. I have to do some convincing of my founders, but I only want to do that if we're going to short circuit this conversation and move towards a formal contract quickly. Like, I'd love to get this off your plate and focus on implementation with. Yeah. Does that make sense?
yes, I think it makes sense. So you're like, I'm going to digest it, and I say, okay, so how can we get that assurance? What else am I supposed to say there?
I think what you should say is like, so the thing is, don't get off the call without him giving you either a solid yes on the price or without him giving you a timeline on when he's going to get back to you on a specific number.
Oh, right, okay. So like, let me know by the end of today.
Yeah, can you let me know by end of today, because that will kick off me having discussions with my co-founders about this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I want to short circuit this. I don't want us to be going back and forth too much over email or have to waste more time for you getting on another call.
Yeah.
So make sure he is the one. If he doesn't give you confirmation on the call, he's the one who has to do his homework before you go back to him. Right? If he gives you confirmation on the call, you're the one who has to do the homework and get back to him. Right? If he's like 95K, we're good to go, and like I can sign by end of the week, then the onus is on you. And I'd probably like wait a few hours at least and then get back to him and say, hey, conditional on us signing this by end of the week, I was able to convince my co-founders to go down even further than where we're at right now.
Okay, so he says,
can you, and then in the email you can say, can you just reconfirm that we can sign the contract by end of the week? And once you do that, I can, cut a new order form with the new pricing.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yes.
I know it's a lot, right? It's just like 50 things that are probably like triggering through your mind.
It's not a thing that I do on a regular basis.
I know. It's okay. You'll do great. Like even if you can hit, just remember this, don't beat yourself too much if it doesn't go the way in which you wanted it to go.
Yeah.
Okay. Like even if you can get like halfway, 60% of the way through, you'll be in better position than you were when you started the call, right? But I'm just trying to give you the ideal situation. Try not to get off the call without a firm commitment on either timeline or pricing or both.
Yeah. Okay. So it's like, great. You say you can do 95K, and I say, great. Like, let me talk to my co-founders, and if you say that we can get this deal done by Friday, let me go talk to them. I'll confirm by, I can try to confirm by the end of the day, or I will try to confirm by the end of the day.
Exactly.
And then I will cut you a new order form.
Yes. Yeah. Well.
So not even I don't even need to say that.
You don't need to say that. Like you could say that in the email, right? You can go back.
Got it.
And then, because after the call, you can, if it's that scenario, you go back and say, hey, like my co-founders are open to doing the 95,000. If we can get signature by end of the week, can you reconfirm that's possible? Once you confirm, I'll recut the order form with the 95K pricing.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's all these like kind of micro negotiations that you're going to do to get the deal closed. But the big thing is, don't get off the call if he's like, let me think about it, right?
So if he says, let me think about it, that's when I say, can you give me some assurance? Or do I say more specifically, like, can you let me know by end of day or something?
Yeah, if he's like, let me think about it in the way that we ended the call just now, you could say, well, like, I would ideally like to have clarity around like what we're thinking about and like what the number needs to be so that we're not going back and forth too much. Is there a magic number in your mind that you're trying to hit, right? Does that make sense? And remember, in that scenario, you gave the 95K, so you're not going to ever give a number, right? Like you've already given the 100K,
Yeah.
right? And 90K is your bottom. So if he says 90K, you need to start negotiating on the levers to get the deal done quickly. If he's,
Okay.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
So if he says 90K and really sticks to it, is there any way for me to, do you see a reasonable pathway for me to get it back to 95, or do I just need to accept 90K and like get the deal done?
if your bottom is 90K, right? I would not try and get it to 95, if that makes sense, right? If he's like kind of telling you that 90K is his maximum.
Yeah.
After like you could
Right.
do the whole like, is that really your maximum or is there room
Yeah.
beyond that? But after he says it's his maximum, right?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I guess the answer to your question is yes, you can you could do it once to be like, hey, just want to like triple check 90K
Yeah.
is maximum for you. But
Yeah.
at that point, then you should move on from that, right? And close the deal at 90K.
Okay.
If there's any sort of hesitation where he's like, oh, like 90K isn't the maximum, then you got to be like, okay, what is the maximum then?
Yeah.
Right?
And
Like,
So
That is reasonable. Yeah.
if he says 90K is my maximum. I know you've got to go in a minute.
no, all
Deal-
good. I can go over a couple more minutes. Yeah, I don't have a hard stop. Yeah.
Goal is still to get the deal done. I mean, I could bring up limiting the sessions, which would, and you had said something like this earlier, which was like, but I'll have to talk with him about what that limit would be. But again, I
Yeah.
don't we'll just like drag out the deal.
Yeah, you could bring it up like as a way to, make sure he understands how great of a deal this is, right? To say
Yeah.
like, hey, at 90K, we would have to start thinking about limiting sessions because we're at an unlimited plan right now. But I
Yeah.
also want to short circuit this for us and get this off your plate. So
Yeah.
hypothetically, let me just first triple check, is 90K the absolute maximum? Like you can't do 91, 92, 93, or 94. Like 90K is like, there's like a hard limit there. Is that right?
Yeah.
And then he's like, well, yes, it is. Then you could say, okay, hypothetically, if I can get it down to that at the current deal structure at unlimited sessions, can we get this accelerated and signed?
By Wednesday.
Yeah, by Wednesday, right? Because at this point, you're really pushing pretty aggressively on the price point that is far below what I think is still a great deal.
Yeah.
And so I want to be able to make sure we can move quickly on this. Yeah. You got this.
Okay, my call's at 3:30. I'll keep you
All
posted.
right.
Wow, in an hour. Okay, you got this. Yeah, just I know it's hard to like relax in these situations, but just remember, be confident in the value that you have. Make sure you're not the only one doing homework and that there's clarity on at least the pricing or timeline or both. All right, you got this. Let me know. I'll be very curious to hear how it goes.
Yeah, and if you can you just send me the recording of this? So
Oh, yeah.
I'll send it to you right now. It'll take like a few minutes to process.
Yeah.
But I'll send it to you as soon as I have it.
yeah, I like a lot of your phrasing, and I just need to practice saying it so that it comes naturally.
Okay, good. Yeah, I'll send it to you as quickly as I can
Okay.
in the
Sounds
next
good.
like 5. Okay.
Thank you.